Here's a great example. What does this trash tell you about the homeowner? There's a Huffy box with tips for bike safety. It looks like they just bought a bike. Pastors have mixed emotions when the verdict came down last night. They say that's because this case is about more than just loud music, but that they think that racism and culture issues are the real issues. And they also say that the verdict was a loss for the Davis family and the community. A lot of people we talked to didn't even know that there was a construction project starting on the Main Street Bridge, and here's why. See the message board behind me flashing with information saying what time the roads are closed, but unfortunately the traffic sign in front of it is blocking that information. Live in Palm Coast at the city offices. Now, we were originally in the Indian Trails neighborhood that was so badly hit last night at about 7 o'clock, but the Flagler County Sheriff's Office has asked us to leave for now, and we're waiting around here at the city offices. They're going to have a news conference here later today anyway, but we did want to bring you this update. As of now, 51 homes are still without power. A few years ago, you were required to wear a helmet when riding on a motorcycle, but now the law is that you don't have to. It's optional, and law enforcement says that's why they think they've seen an uptick in fatal motorcycle crashes. And let this serve as a reminder. We're still in the midst of hurricane season, so you want to check your yard for any dangerous trees to prevent something like this from happening to you. This is what they do. Thieves look for unlocked doors with valuables inside, and when they find it, well, bingo, it's theirs for the taking, and that's exactly what happened to Betty Mitchell.
You really feel bad. You feel like you've been violated, you know, because all your personal stuff is out there.
Mitchell parked her car in her work parking lot at the Gateway Mall. It's the same place she always parks, a place she thought was safe. But our crime and safety analyst, Ken Jefferson, says you should never assume your valuables are safe.
You never should have a false sense of security, even if you're at work, even if you're at church in the parking lot. You never should have a false sense of security to think that thieves will not steal from you at various places.
Mitchell left a computer bag full of valuables in her car. She also left the backseat door unlocked. A witness saw two boys steal from the car and run. Items stolen from Mitchell's car include $2,500 cash, a wallet, driver's license, social security card, debit and credit cards, her checkbook, a Dell computer briefcase, and her grandson's baseball bat.
Christmas money and all that. Now I can't even buy my grandkids nor my kids anything for Christmas because I don't have the money. And I still have to pay the loan back even though the money is gone.
Jefferson says theft is more popular this time of year because more people carry cash around the holidays.
This time of year, thieves are looking for people who are vulnerable, people who pull out large amounts of cash, people who leave items in their cars visible where they can break in and steal it.
Jefferson has some advice. Never keep large amounts of cash in your wallet. Never keep items in plain sight. And, of course, always lock your doors. Take a look behind me first here. We've got a park where families come and play and picnic. And it may seem like a safe and quiet place. We've even actually have students here waiting for their bus, by the way. Again, it may seem safe and quiet now, but late last night, 3 people were shot in this area. And the victims are now recovering in the hospital. They actually drove themselves to UF Health. And 3 people were shot late last night at West 35th Street and Moncrief Road. JSO responded to that intersection around 10:30 p.m. Police found shell casings in the middle of the road and then were told that the injured drove themselves to the hospital. Police knocked on neighbors' doors to see if anyone heard or saw anything, but they're still looking for answers.
This particular area is more residential on this side and more commercial on the other side. So we're trying to knock on some doors to see if we can establish any independent witnesses or whether anybody heard anything or saw anything.
Police say there may even be a 4th victim. They went to the hospital to interview the people who were shot, and they really didn't find out much. If you know anything about this shooting, you're urged to call Crime Stoppers. It's 1-866-845-TIPS. At San Marco Boulevard at LaSalle, this is the worst of it. So you can see a huge improvement from what it looked like last hour. First of all, the rain stopped, so that's a big deal. But also earlier, we had that current flowing where the curves are. Don't see that anymore, just standstill water. Everything's definitely receding. Let's show that video that we showed you about an hour ago here when conditions were a lot worse. Again, like I said, things getting better here, but still seeing a lot of people traveling here, and that's an issue for drivers, especially with those low cars. I saw somebody just a second ago with one of those cars right down to the ground here, and he was, well, covered in water. At least his tires were. So again, if you do have to come this way, keep that in mind. Coming back to a live picture here, I just want to show you what we showed you earlier. See a huge difference here. No big deal. Things are getting a lot better. But again, be careful. One father didn't think he'd ever see his daughter again. It's been 17 years, and we got to be here for their reunion.
Excited, nervous, scared.
Okay, just let her keep it.
Most beautiful day in the world. I'm sorry.
Joe Zanowski lost touch with his daughter, and after years of looking, he thought he would never find her.
Oh, my goodness.
But it was she who found him. 2 years ago, his daughter, Laura Stahl, looked him up through an app on her phone. She found an address, then gave it a shot and sent him a letter.
It said L. Stahl, Dallas, Texas. I couldn't imagine. And when I started reading it, I said, this is my daughter.
They've been talking ever since on the phone. Zanowski was hoping to visit her, but in October of last year, he found out he had colon cancer. At this point, they knew they had to make a meeting happen.
I'm happy it happened. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I know I was going to try to make it happen, but just thankful to some friends that actually paid for my ticket.
And both daughter and father are overwhelmed with joy, especially because he got to meet his 10-month-old granddaughter.
Oh my God, it's just, I don't know. I can't even describe how it feels right now.
They both say it's been a long time coming.
Money can't buy what I got today. This is the most wonderful thing. If this cancer takes me tomorrow, I'm happy.
This newly reunited family has big plans today. They plan to take Joe's granddaughter, Ashlyn, to the beach for the very first time. Police are still investigating what exactly caused the crash, but Sergeant Bryan says everyone involved in the crash was wearing their seatbelt. And a sergeant is recovering from minor injuries after troopers say a woman rear-ended his patrol car. It happened early Sunday morning on State Road 13, just south of Greenbrier Road. Florida Highway Patrol says Sergeant Glenn Loppy was sitting in his car on the shoulder when a Camry driven by Priscilla Gibson ran into the back of his patrol car. Both Loppy and Gibson went to Memorial Hospital on Racetrack Road with minor injuries. FHP is reporting this crash. It could be days before power's back on for all 440,000 homes and businesses that lost electricity during a weekend storm. Michigan, upstate New York, and northern New England saw snow and ice. The Midwest got snow, and there was flooding in the South. The storm is blamed for at least 9 deaths in the U.S. And today is the last day to enroll in health care coverage in order for the plan to kick in by January 1st. But many first-time buyers are facing sticker shock for some of the plans. Experts say that's because they're looking at initial costs, not what the plan will cover. That confusion, combined with early glitches in many online exchanges, is leading some lawmakers to propose delaying penalties.
I'm not worried about the glitches, computer glitches. We'll fix that sooner or later. I'm worried about having the product that the market will buy, and we're not letting people shop. So with that being said, myself and Mark Kirk introduced a bill, the only bipartisan bill, that says, why don't we wait basically before we put any crimes or fines until January 1, 2015. This whole 2014 will be a transitional year.
Now for 2014, the penalty is either $95 per adult, up to $285 per family, or 1% of family income. The White House says it's impossible to protect those with pre-existing conditions without the individual mandate. And a wildfire raging for the past week is 100% contained. It burned through 900 acres and destroyed dozens of homes around Big Sur, California. Local fire crews are battling the last of the flames. People who live in the area are starting to return to their homes and clean up. And the cause of the fire is being investigated. The recent attack on Target customers is really eye-opening, as well as you think about identity theft. About 40 million shoppers had their credit card information stolen, and during the busiest shopping days of the year. So what should you do to protect yourself? First, if you think you're a victim of identity theft, the Federal Trade Commission says you should contact one of the 3 credit reporting agencies and place an initial fraud alert. That makes it harder for the thieves to open accounts in your name. Now, once you've done that, the FTAC recommends ordering a free credit report. That way you can get a full look of activity tied to your name. Finally, you'll want to create an identity theft report. That will allow you to get the fraudulent information removed from your credit report and stop a company from collecting debts on that fraudulent information removed from your credit report and stop a company from collecting those debts. If you think a thief is isolated to just one credit card, just cancel the card and, of course, change your PIN number. Oftentimes, the credit card company or bank will reimburse you for those charges if you report it in a timely manner. That's the key there. UPS deliveries will resume today as it deals with a backlog of packages that didn't make it to their destinations before Christmas. UPS says they called in an additional staff last night, and some employees say it was the worst Christmas ever. UPS and FedEx both experienced delays. The companies blamed bad weather, an increase of online shopping, and fewer shopping days this season. Neither company will say exactly how many packages were delayed, but they both say just a small part of the overall holiday shipments. And in world news this morning, Pakistani officials say a suspected American drone fired 2 missiles at a home, killing at least 3 foreign militants. It happened just before Wednesday midnight in northeastern region of the country. The American drone program is unpopular in Pakistan because many people believe they're killing innocent civilians. They also think it's impeding on their sovereignty. The U.S. denies the claims of killing any civilian. Well, this morning, President Obama took some time during his family vacation in Hawaii to sign a couple bills into law. The first is a 2-year bipartisan budget deal that Congress passed last week. The new budget scales back some domestic as well as big military spending cuts. The president also signed a new defense bill that includes provisions to address the epidemic of sexual assaults in the military. The Pentagon estimates there were 26,000 victims last year. In Florida, Senator Bill Nelson made a pit stop yesterday in our area. He makes a point to come to the Claire White Mission downtown every year sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And yesterday, he spent time serving breakfast to some of our area's homeless. Nelson spoke to our reporters about several issues he and his fellow congressmen are dealing with at the Capitol. One of them was the Affordable Care Act and the trouble that it had rolling out.
Well, you know, they had a lot of problems with the website. There were no excuses for that, but it's being corrected.
The senator also spoke about a newly signed budget bill that, despite serious debate, the bipartisan support, and Senator Nelson said it was frustrating and hard to build on a consensus with that deal. And when it comes to the presidential race in 2016, polls are showing the country is bipartisan as well. Hillary Clinton and Chris Christie would be neck and neck in 2016. According to poll numbers from CNN, 48% say they would support Christie and 46% say they would back Clinton. Among the possible GOP candidates in the poll, Representative Paul Ryan, Senator Rand Paul, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. If you're heading out this weekend to spend some of your Christmas cash, you can find some pretty good deals. Some places like Walmart and Kohl's opened their doors as early as 5 o'clock yesterday to shoppers who wanted to get an early start on post-Christmas shopping. According to Deal News, you'll get the best bang for your buck on clothing, brand name HD TVs, and holiday treats and decor.
Discounts will definitely be deep this week, but what you're getting are leftovers. You can guarantee that you'll see some 70–75% off discounts on wrapping paper and Christmas tree trinkets.
Online retailers are also amping up their after-Christmas sales. The National Retail Federation says the week after Christmas can account for as much as 15% of what retailers see throughout the entire holiday season. Well, 2013 is almost over. Can you believe it? Have you made your New Year's Eve plans yet? If you're at a loss for something to do, you're not alone. What a new poll says about how most Americans will spend the holiday coming up. And after a rainy summer, emergency officials are working to keep wildfires to a minimum. Why the rain makes conditions actually more favorable for fires. That's next. Now here's a look at what's coming up later today on The Morning Show.